Welcome back to Miss Eddie's Math Movies, where it's a cute to be a square. Today's lesson is on 3.7 translations. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to use and identify translations. We're going to start here with transformations because there's multiple kinds of transformations that we're going to be talking about. You've probably heard of the transformers, right? Transformers change. That's what transformation is. It's an operation that maps, or you can think about it as moves or changes, because transformation means change, a figure onto an image. Guess we should probably talk about image. But first, before we do, let's talk about the different types of transformations. Different types of transformations, right? Different examples would be a translation, which we're going to talk about today, reflections, and rotations. Those are the types of transformations we're going to talk about. The types of changes we're going to talk about. We're going to translate shapes, reflect them, and rotate shapes. So a little bit of vocabulary that goes with that is image. The image is the new figure after the transformation. So let's say that we have a heart and we rotate the heart. So now it's upside down. If we rotate it. This is the original, this is called the figure, and this is called the image. The image is the one after the transformation. So the specific type of translation we're going to talk to, a translation is just a slide. We're going to slide figures around. So here's an example. We're looking for which one of these is a translation, which one is just a slide. The gray figure is a translation of the black figure. Could we take this black truck and slide it onto this gray truck? Well, sure, we could slide it up and over. So this is a translation because the orientation has not changed. Notice here, if we cannot take this black truck and slide it on to the gray truck, this is a reflection. This is not a translation. The orientation changed. The way it's going and facing and looking has changed. It's a reflection. Could we slide this black truck onto this gray truck? No, we would have to rotate it. So this isn't a translation because the orientation changed. It's a rotation. Right? So maybe we should make a note here about translations. Translations, right, can be up, down, left, right. It's kind of what we're looking at for translations, sliding it. Right, now we're going to describe a translation. What happened? Now if you notice, there's a segment here, there's PQ, and then there's P prime, Q prime. P prime, Q prime is the image, is the translation. So see, we start here with this segment, and then we end up here with this segment. So we have to describe what's going on. Let's see. To get from P to P prime, we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, and 1, 2 down. Now, it should be the same with Q. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right, and 2 down. So every point on PQ moves 4 to the right and 2 down. Next, we're going to talk about coordinate notation. So how we would describe this in coordinate notation, this would be x plus 4, because we're going to the right, so we'd add 4 to x. And then we'd go down, up and down is always the y, so that would be y minus 2. That's what we're going to talk about down here. So it says describe the translation. Well, we have to start at A, and we always go to the prime. So we're going to start here, end up here. We always start at the original letter and go to the prime. So to get from A to A prime, we have to go 1, 2, 3 to the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So now when we describe this, right, 4 to the left is at negative 4. Oh, I'm sorry. 4 to the, it's 3 to the left, is a negative 3. And 4 up is a positive 4. So when we use this in coordinate notation, we went 3 back. So in the x direction, we went a negative 3. In the y direction, we went a positive 4. So that's how you describe it using coordinate notation. All right, so you have to complete these checkpoints, decide whether this is a translation. So your answer is either yes or no. Then describe the translation using words and coordinate notation. So in words, is it going up, left, down, or right? And then you have to use coordinate notation. So that's going to look, what are we doing to the x's? You're going to write something here. What are we doing to the y's? You're going to write something there. So do this now. Oops. Go ahead and get those done, and we will check them in class. Draw translated figures. All right, so we have to plot our triangle here. A is at negative 2, 5. Negative 2, 5. B is at 0, 7. And C is at 3, 7. Now let's connect these. So here's our triangle. And we have to draw the image after this translation. So x plus 2, y minus 3. Well, if we do x plus 2, that is 2 to the right because it's positive. And y minus 3 is 3 down. Right? X always tells us left or right. Y always tells us up or down, depending on the sign. So let's see, we need to take each point and move it separately. So I'll get a different color for us. Let's start with A. We're going to move A 2 to the right and 3 down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And we call that A prime. Now let's do B. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. B prime. C has got to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Here is our new triangle. Notice that it looks exactly the same. If your shape doesn't look exactly the same, you've done something wrong. Now it says use the translation, but use the numbers instead of drawing it. Okay, so let's go back up here and we'll look at this for a second. And it says, what if we just take this point and do this to it? Instead of counting it out on the graph, let's just apply, let's add 2 to x, subtract 3 from y. So negative 2 plus 2 is 0, and 5 minus 3 is 2. All right, so let's do this on our own now. So we have to take x. Here's our x value. What do we have to do to x? We have to add 2. That ends up being 2. Then here's our y value. What do we have to do to y? We have to subtract 3. 7 minus 3 is 4. So the same thing to c. Well, we take our x value and we have to add 2, which is 5. We take our y value, we have to subtract 3, which is 4. So now let's compare that up here. Is a prime at 0, 2? Yep. Is b prime at 2, 4? Yes. And is c prime at 5, 4? Yes, it is. So these are the same things. You can either do it in your head or you can draw it on a picture. There's 2 different ways of doing it. All right, so you are going to draw the image. So you're going to move all of these points. Here's F, J, G, and H. Remember what this means. This means 3 to the right and 2 down. Move all of those points 3 to the right and 2 down. And see if you can figure out this one. Go ahead and do those now. This is M Cubed, signing out.